Okay, so for this episode, I am talking about reasonable adjustments at work. Now, it's amazing how many messages of support I get on my Hormones and Heartache page of women cheering me on when I do go to work and I'm really suffering and I'm struggling with the brain fog and the lethargy and I haven't had enough sleep. I'm really struggling to focus and concentrate. I don't feel like myself. I'm feeling really low. But yeah, I'm showing up to work. I don't have a choice. I have to go to work. Like, I need to have an income. We can't, be at the mercy of this cycle or this condition where we can't physically go to work. Now, thankfully, I have a very supportive team. And from the beginning, when I had PMDD and I didn't know I had PMDD, I probably was like, this girl's hypersensitive. Like, why is she always crying? I was always crying. But also I was sharing, my mental health is hugely compromised and, I'm having panic attacks in the car before I come to work. I'm struggling to come in, all of those. So until, my first breakdown, I didn't know I had PMDD. So if I didn't know I had PMDD, fat chance of healthcare professionals knowing about PMDD either. So when my manager then did refer me to occupational health, and it was like the blind leading the blind, to be honest. They were the most unhelpful team imaginable. And to be fair, it was 7 years ago in their defense. Fast forward a few breakdowns, changes in treatment, trialing out treatment and long-term sick occasionally. I have finally I have reached a place of equilibrium of where there is a robust plan in place to support and facilitate me being able to work and manage this condition. We have something called an ability passport at work, which you can submit if you have a condition or a health condition or a disability. PMDD is classed as a disability if you have it for more than a year or two. So before it was 2 years, the law has changed. It is a year. If you suffer from a condition and are receiving treatment for it, it is classed as a disability. It falls under the 2010 Equalities Act because it is compromising your mental health and consequently, it's a disability. So if I have a disability, so be it. Is it something I'm embarrassed or ashamed of? Definitely not. It is what it is. I had to be referred to occupational health 2 years ago. So it was just over a year and a half ago. Just before I started my chemically induced menopause treatment. And it was a really refreshing conversation to have with a consultant. It was a consultant who rang me up and said, I've just had a read of your referral. And I listened patiently because I was basically holding my breath because I was just like, oh, it's not like they're going to know about it. And my first question was, have you heard of PMDD? And he said, of course I have. And that really helped. And this consultant was very empathetic, patient, kind, validating. All of the things that basically are very rare to experience unless you're speaking to someone who's a specialist in PMDD or hormones. And he listened intently. For a man especially, to be able to be that empathetic, it was really shocking for me as an experience. So he listened intently and he said, look, unless you don't have to go in, I don't think you should be going in 5 days a week. And I said, well, as ideal that would be, we have a service to provide. I am a lecturer / trainer / facilitator, and I do a lot of teaching. And I can't not go in because you have to teach face-to-face. So he said, okay, what would he asked me, he was like, how does your cycle work for you? And I said, look, 2 weeks of the month is manageable. 2 weeks of the month is a lot more challenging. But then when I'm marking assignments, it becomes a lot more overwhelming and hard for me to navigate. etc., etc. So after much deliberation, I basically agreed that he would write up a report recommending that I work from home 2 days a week. Now that comes with his conditions. It's not as simple as she can work from home 2 days a week. Working for the NHS, you have to bear in mind the service that we provide, and it's called a service need. And the service need that my division provides is basically teaching and training and developing our workforce. And the way that I negotiated with my team was that 2 days of the week when I am working from home, I'm happy to mark. And also if any training is required or teaching is required from me, I will do it via Teams. We all did it during COVID. It's not impossible. So they agreed. And it's been a breeze, to be honest. And it's really helped me function and be able to have a career. And there are companies out there that provide you with a lot of information to support and guide you in being able to do this. Look, it's not for everyone. I'm not going to pretend to be a martyr and be like, everyone must go to work. No, not at all. It is very personal to each individual. And if you do hold down a career whilst you're working full time, hats off to you, because I know how hard it is. And it took me years to get to this place where now I'm going on nearly a year and a half and I work from home 2 days a week, and it has transformed the quality of my life to be able to maintain a career and do it to a high standard. Because as women, we are ambitious. We want to be able to develop. We want to do things with our lives. We have a skill set. We're not defined by our disorders or our disabilities or our health challenges. We still want to pursue things. So for that reason, being able to work from home, having those reasonable adjustments made, negotiating with my team how I would meet the service in the 2 days that I am working from home, was able to facilitate and support that. But what really helped was having a safe space at work to be able to talk about that and be able to share really openly. The team is like a family for me. They know when I'm going through it. They can see it on my face. It's very hard for me to conceal what I'm thinking or feeling. And if I am suffering, it's usually over here. You can see it from my eyes or my forehead, irrespective of the Botox. You can always see it. So it's like I lose the soul from behind my eyes when I start to ovulate and I'm in luteal phase. They can see I'm not there, and they just give me the space that I need. For the days that I'm in the office, I put my headphones on because I'm sensitive to sounds, and I just literally crack on with the work that I need to do. If I'm teaching, I literally teach. As soon as I'm done teaching, I go home. So I have that as part of my reasonable adjustments. That's been able to help and support and facilitate me being able to manage a career. There are organisations that you can gain support and information from. One in particular that I find really, really helpful and useful is See Her Thrive, founded by Claire. She's been so amazing and a trailblazer in the community to be able to teach corporate companies and organisations on the importance of supporting women in the workforce, because we do make up more than half of society. And if you look at the statistics, a lot of the workforce actually equal to about 75%. And PMDD is just one part. There's all a plethora of health conditions that women experience. And that requires support and reasonable adjustments and what that looks like. And especially if you have a disability and are receiving treatment, this is something that is very important and pertinent for employers to take into consideration to get the best out of women in careers. So I think the culture is gradually changing and the attitude is gradually changing towards supporting women to be able to do their jobs and manage their careers whilst they're managing their conditions. Before it was a taboo, before it was quite a sensitive topic to navigate or have conversations around. But I think with the awareness of people like you and I and companies and organizations approaching a culture with their employees in mind and thinking about their well-being, it is slowly getting there. So I think if there is something that I would highly advise you to do if you are thinking of doing it, is have a look at See Her Thrive, look at the policies, because there are lots of policies available to support HR and information that you can provide your manager to be able to request these reasonable adjustments. It might not look like in the pattern that I have, whatever works for you. But I think you should give yourself a chance and an opportunity to be able to make your life a little bit easier whilst you're going through this, because the opportunity is there. So have a look on the policies that you can find on See Her Thrive. If you've got any questions, DM me, and then I can do my best and see what I can do to support you.